That is just the best look on his face. That is just the best story. Why do we get put through the penalty shootouts all the time? It's amazing.
I know, but we always have to do it the hard way because we dominated that game against Peru. No one thought we could. In fact, not many thought we'd get past the UAE. So this is a fantastic victory, and we should have put them away in normal time, but we didn't, and we went to the penalty shootout. And of course, there is the career-defining moment when Graham Arnold substitutes his captain and puts on that guy.
Right, so talk us through this, because this was a very big moment. He'd gone through the extra game, the extra time, and the captain is in goal, and then gets the call.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was planned before. He told me about it a couple of weeks, mate. I'm good mates with Arnie, and obviously Redmayne was told. Matty Ryan wasn't informed. So he
had no idea during the game that he was going to be replaced.
No, and the reason why is he said that he would have just thought about it the whole game. So, but Redmayne was told and studied the Peruvian penalty takers, and as you say, the rest is history.
Robbie, you talk about the Socceroos doing it the hard way. There's 20 World Cup qualifiers. 16 of those were away from home.
It's been an unbelievable performance, and the Matildas have been in the same position. The Socceroos and the Matildas, no other football team or soccer team, whatever you want to call them, has done it quite as hard as the Socceroos and the Matildas. And the Socceroos, Graham Arnold, out of 2 years, I think, has spent 16 months away from home. The players have travelled thousands of kilometres, stayed in bubbles, you know, stayed in rooms, stayed in their hotels, not allowed out.
It's been the worst preparation of any team in the world, hasn't it?
It has, because around the world, in Europe in particular, there was no people in the stadium, but they were still travelling to different countries and they had their home games. But we didn't have that.
Robbie, it's so interesting that you knew Matt Ryan was going to be replaced, but Matt Ryan didn't.
We know.
And so when he took you into his confidence, Graham Arnold, what did you say? Good idea, bad idea?
Big call. And look, I was very, very conscious because I'm his mate. So look, you know, I've got what I do and he's got what he does. So I didn't say good or bad. I just said that's a big call. But he knows Redmayne from his Sydney FC days, and Redmayne won a grand final under Steve Corica in a penalty shootout. He's well known to be very good at penalties.
He annoys them into submission, doesn't he?
Well, it's very annoying what he does. And so it was listen, Crash, this is a massive call, what he did, what he's pulled off.
Yeah.
It defines him as a coach, and the narrative could have gone the other way. It would have defined him if it had failed, because he'd copped more criticism and bad raps than any coach I can remember.
We joke about Redmayne's demeanour.
Yeah.
Would that have put you off?
Well, I don't think I would have enjoyed it. You know, I never saw that. I've never had that, but I think that must affect you, because it'd be annoying. You know, you just want to go and headbutt him. You know, stop it. And
he was
the referee
lippy as well. He did horrible.
And the referee did talk to him a couple of times about it.
In fact, look, I reckon he went further than that. Now, this is something we can reveal exclusively here, and maybe you can confirm it, because I know we've spoken to Arnie today, that perhaps his best move came from behind the goal. Early in the shootout, he grabs the Peruvian keeper's instructions for the shootout. They're written on a bit of paper, on his water bottle, and he casually threw them away.
He did.
So he takes his notes about where the likelihood of where they're going to shoot, which side.
It's true.
Is this a fact?
This is a fact. I spoke to him, what was it, Crash? Was it a couple of hours ago? An hour ago. And, yeah, so on the water bottle there was a piece of paper taped with the faces of the Australian penalty takers and which side they go. So Redmayne's seen it, he's going, well, you're not having that. He's thrown it. But mate, goalkeepers are mad. It's common knowledge in football teams that the maddest player on the team is the goalkeeper.
But see, Redmayne would have been... He studied the Peruvian players and knew everything about them, because the last goalkeeper I knew to study Peruvian was Boz, but that was at nightclubs.
But was that the Boz who used to host the show?
But so he would have known it off by heart, but this guy had to have it documented
on his water bottle.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, you've known Graham since you were 18 years old.
Yeah.
Who is he? Like you've known him all that time, and we're seeing in the shots of him. Who is this guy? What's he made of?
He's a very, very loyal person. The teams he played for, the players love him. He creates a culture where he goes, and he's an Aussie through and through. He's given his 40 years of service as a player and as a coach to the national team. And I think in that moment, now, if he didn't make the substitution, no one would have said, well, why didn't you bring Redmayne on? So he knew And I told him, when we had that conversation, when he told me, I said, if this fails, that will define you. I said, you already have a bad rap. You get criticised unfairly, in my opinion. I've always stood by him. Obviously, you've got to stick up for your mates at some stage. So I see that as a very unselfish. He's not worried about his reputation. He just thinks this guy can win us this game and we can go to the World Cup.
It was a massive call from him and for Arnie, obviously, and a massive sports moment, the result, and he wanted Australia to know and celebrate.
I called out Anthony Albanese the other day to give everyone, the fans, a day off to celebrate this, because I believe this is one of the greatest achievements ever to qualify for this World Cup, the way we've had to go through things. You know, 20 World Cup qualifiers, and we've played 16 away from home. It's been tough, but we did it.
Oh. You said it was a day off.
Well, that's a normal Tuesday night at the back page time.
Now, I tell you, his voice was dusty there.
Yeah.
An hour ago, it wasn't even there. So they've had a pretty good night over there.
So we've got the World Cup. We know we've qualified for the World Cup. Who's in our pool? We know that Harry Suter is to come back. Can we get better?
That's a big comeback as well. And we've also got the question hanging over Tommy Rogic, who is our best player. And put that in perspective, we've done this without him.
There's the rankings. This is the so-called pool of death, although France calls it the pool of joy. Denmark are 11th in the world. Tunisia, I guess they're 35, and the Socceroos.
There's our old rivals, Tunisia, Tone. Yeah, so that's going to be a big one.
Yeah. Look, the facts of the World Cups, we've played in 4, we've won 2 games. The last 2 World Cups, we haven't won a game.
It's just
but we've been competitive, but the reality, they are the stats. So, I mean, Graham Arnold's got a bit of a free hit at it now. You know, we weren't expected to, you know, most people thought we were not going to make it. We couldn't beat Peru.
They'll get great support from everybody. Although the Peruvian fans were outnumbered us there, we had specific fans who did specific jobs, like this Aussie in the background, just trying to capture the spirit of John Aloisi in the penalty shootout. We can see, he's holding up the number. John, here he comes. See in the background?
Oh, he's got Aloisi in the background.
He's got Aloisi there.
He knew it.
Perhaps greatest moment.
That's right, and this one will be right up there with it, because whenever we see the qualification for this World Cup, that's the image you're going to say.
How are you? Let me check your pulse.
Yeah,
how are you feeling? Because you're pretty buggered. You were buggered tonight coming in.
Very flat in the green room.
But Rob, you were candid. Soccer really needed this in Australia, didn't they? Like the thought, and I mean, Italy have missed the last 2 World Cups.
It don't.
But
so the game needed it, didn't it?
Yeah, we're better than Italy.
Better than Italy.
So it was, because it was, to put it in a nice way, if you want, it was a difficult season for the domestic competition. And nothing worked out the way it was supposed to be with that, and it's still a big job for next season for the A-League. But it would have been a dark year if we didn't qualify, and there were many times and many doubts along the road that we weren't going to make it. But Graham Arnold, full of smiles there. Yeah. Well, I roomed with Graham Arnold, and he didn't smile very much. In fact, you were in the same room. Because I was in the same room and I snored, and I wore earplugs. He used to go, "How does that work? You snore, but you wear the earplugs." But anyway,
how does that work?
I don't know, but I slept very well. And he would get up in the morning, and his routine would, he'd go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, smile, and go, "Right, that's out. That's done with." So that's actually true. But he's smiling very much at the moment.
Actually, there was just a lot of smiles around.
I pocket called him yesterday.
Sorry,
by accident.
You're on television.
Well, by accident, it was in the morning, so the morning before the games. So he's in the middle of the night, and I actually called me. He rang me the next morning. He said, "You've just ruined the qualification." I didn't get back to sleep. I said, "Have you heard of silence?"
Did his phone ring and he just heard you snoring?
He must have.
No surprise, obviously, that we're talking about Red Medman. The actual Wiggles had a message for the great man. Have a look.
Congratulations to all the Socceroos, especially Andrew the Grey Wiggle. Mate, you've inspired everybody, including Jeff. He wants to be a goalkeeper, just like you. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think Jeff's on the Peruvian. I don't know. It used to be wake up, Jeff, but now he's too awake.
Chill out, Jeff.
But isn't it nice to see a battler? Like, he went to 5 different A-League clubs. He was in Brisbane for 2 years and played 2 games. Couldn't get a game, but just hung in there, Rob. You know,
yeah, he certainly did. And John Crawley, there's a big, massive shout out to him because he would have been involved in this decision. And I think it's a great moment of coaching because you've got the head coach trusting the goalkeeper coach and trusting his decision making, and it could have been the other way around, but it's worked out.
You're humble because he is one of your good mates, but the passion that Graham Arnold shows for this country is, and you know what, a few months ago I thought it was disgusting, some of the headlines on Arnie. But I'm just so glad now that he gets to prove himself at the World Cup, and that's been his career goal, hasn't it? To get 100%. This team to a World Cup.
This is a dream come true for him, and I'm so glad it's happened because it's so hard being his best mate. Because I get smashed more than him. It's like it's my fault.